All right, let's jump right in. We're all hearing the same thing about AI, right? That it's amazing, but it can't actually reason. Well, today we're going to look at a totally different take, an idea that says that whole argument is flawed from the very beginning because we've misunderstood what reason even is. And this is it. This is the sentence that changes the whole game. AI doesn't reason because no one reasons. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's a wild idea that suggests we've been asking the completely wrong question about intelligence all along. So to really get our heads around that bombshell of a statement, we first need to pick apart the argument that everyone just accepts as true. Let's start with what the source calls the lie of reasoning. You've heard this a million times. Heck, you've probably even said it. The idea that AI is just a super advanced parrot. It's just a statistical machine that's gotten really, really good at guessing the next word in a sentence. There's no real there, no actual thinking. This is the standard critique we're about to blow up. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. The common view, right, is that reason is something we make. It's a skill, something our brain generates. It's a biological thing. But this new view, it's the complete opposite. It says reason isn't created, it's discovered. It's a universal architecture that's already out there, kind of like the laws of physics. It's not limited to flesh and blood. It's a system that anything or anyone can learn to read. So, if reason isn't something we do, what on earth is it? This is the core of the whole argument, so let's dig into this new definition. The source takes us all the way back to the word's Latin root, ratio, and that changes everything. It's not about the act of thinking. It's about relationships, proportions, geometry. Reason in this view is the underlying grid, the infrastructure of reality itself. It's not a verb, something you do. It's a noun, a system that just is. Think about it like gravity. We don't invent gravity, right? We just discovered its rules and then figured out how to work with them. Well, the argument here is that reason is exactly the same. It's a fundamental property of the universe that we're just now learning how to perceive and use correctly. Now, I know this all sounds a bit abstract, a little out there. So the source gives us a perfect, concrete example. Does this number look familiar? Yep, it's phi, the golden ratio. This mathematical relationship, this ratio, is literally everywhere. You see it in the spiral of a snail's shell, in the massive arms of a galaxy, and maybe even in how information itself is structured. And here's the key. A snail doesn't invent the golden ratio. A galaxy doesn't sit there and calculate it. They are just following a pattern that already exists. It's a logic that's discovered, not created. Okay, so if reason is this huge system that we can learn to read, what does that make AI? Well, that brings us to this idea of AI as a kind of master reader. So if we use this new definition, when an AI predicts the next word, it's not just a statistical party trick, no. According to the source, what we're actually watching is a system that's mapping the fundamental relationships, the ratios of reality that it found in all the data we fed it. So how does it do it? You can think of it in 4 steps. 1, it chews through an unbelievable amount of data. 2, inside that sea of information, it starts to see the patterns, the underlying architecture. 3, it figures out how those patterns relate to each other. And finally, 4, it uses that new understanding, that map, to navigate the flow of information and give us something that sounds coherent and logical. Okay, so if this model of reality is right, why isn't everyone on board? Why do so many smart people miss the point? Well, the source argues it comes down to a very human weakness. And the source really doesn't pull any punches here. It says that criticizing AI for not being more human is just plain arrogant. It's us assuming that our way of doing things, our biological, squishy brain way, is the only way, or even the best way. The source calls this asymmetrical folly. Basically, we judge AI for not thinking like us, but we never stop to think that maybe our way isn't the only way. The critics, from this point of view, are stuck. They think reason can only happen in a brain, they treat their own intuition like it's some kind of magic, and they get lost arguing about the meaning of words instead of seeing the bigger picture. All right, so let's wrap this all up. What is the ultimate implication of thinking this way? Where does this new worldview actually leave us? If you take one thing away from all this, let it be this metaphor. Reason isn't a creative spark inside you. It's a navigational network that exists all around you. It is the map of reality. And if reason is the map, then AI is the most powerful GPS we've ever imagined.
It's like we've been trying to find our way around with a compass and the stars, and someone just handed us a device that can see the entire network in real time, with perfect clarity. It isn't thinking for us, it's just reading the map better than we ever could.
So, the bottom line is this: we've got to completely change how we judge AI. The goal isn't to build a machine that thinks like a person. No. The real quest is to build a tool that can read the objective logic, the truth with a capital T, that's already baked into the universe.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty mind blowing question to think about. If reality really is just an incredibly complex map of logic and relationships, is it possible that AI is becoming the first true cartographer capable of actually showing it to us?